This is CBC Here and Now.
Opened up her bedroom door and she woke up to the flashlight shining in her face, up like this.
A family on the West Coast wants to know why RCMP barged into their house in the middle of the night.
Funding to try to help to end the doctor shortage.
5 new seats to undergraduate medical education program at Memorial University, specifically for Newfoundland and Labrador residents.
I'll tell you why we're spending $500,000 more to keep more doctors in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes. We begin tonight on the West Coast, where a family is sharing a bizarre story that's left them feeling unsettled. The couple says they were awoken in the middle of the night by 2 RCMP officers who had quietly entered their Mount Moriah home. But police are telling a different story. Here and Now's Troy Turner has more.
That's Bear, greeting a stranger who just knocked on the door of his home in Mount Moriah. The 7-month-old Rottweiler Labrador mix is a gentle puppy, but he's apprehensive of strangers. So when officers showed up in the wee hours just after 5 a.m., Bear's owners believe it's very unlikely they made their presence known.
I mean, they had to sneak through this house for my dog not to bark, creep up over those stairs, because he barks at everything.
It's a quiet street in a quiet town just outside Corner Brook. Courtney Pike and her partner, Andrew Dunphy, were sound asleep Saturday night. Pike says she woke up, thought she heard people outside. Her window was open, and at first she thought nothing of it.
So I kind of just chopped it up to like people being outside the house, getting ready to maybe go fishing or something. And so I just kind of went back to sleep. Well, I tried to go back to sleep, and then I could hear him talking again, and Bear made another little bark. And I said, Andrew, I think there's someone in our house. And he said, there's no one in the house, babe. Go back to sleep. He said, you're probably dreaming. And I was like, you're probably right. And then we could hear someone at the top of the stairs, and they just yelled out hello. So it wasn't, this is RCMP, nothing. It was just hello. And Andrew jumped out of bed because he heard a strange man's voice in the house. So he ran out, and it was 2 police officers walking down our hallway.
Pike says the officers asked about a missing girl, someone the couple didn't even know, and then they left. That's when their 11-year-old daughter came upstairs and told them about what she had experienced.
They opened up her bedroom door, and she woke up to the flashlight shining in her face, up like this. So she couldn't even see who it was. Only that there's 2 men there asking her all these questions. And to me, their first question should have been, where's your mother? Where's your dad? Like, where are your parents? But no, they were bombarding her with questions about this girl. Has she ever been in this room? Is she in this house? And the man said, I don't know who you're talking about.
The RCMP would not do an interview, but in a prepared statement said they were responding to an early morning report of a missing person, which led them to Pike's home. Police say, after a sustained period of knocking, doorbell ringing, and verbal communication, police entered the residence through an unlocked door, verbally announcing their presence. Not so, says Pike.
They have to follow the law as well. Like, they just can't do whatever they want. Like, Andrew told him the other day, like, if that was him and he walked into someone's house looking for someone, he would have been charged with trespassing. He wouldn't have gotten away with it. So what gives them the right to come into our home? Even if they are RCMP, like, it gives them no right. It was not a fun situation to be in.
As shaken as she is over this incident, Pike is adamant this thing doesn't happen again to another family. She has since contacted a lawyer and is in the process of filing a complaint against the RCMP. Troy Turner, CBC News, Mount Moriah.
Well, some of us saw much nicer weather than others today. A number of areas seeing plenty of blue sky today, thanks to a big ridge of high pressure, but some lingering cloud cover stuck around for a good chunk, more than I thought today for sure, for those areas along the northeast coast this afternoon. And it's just starting to move out of the way. Still seeing some gray skies out there at the harbor, but there is some blue sky on the horizon, and we will see that as we head through the next couple of hours for sure. only sitting around 4 degrees right now, though, in St. John's, with those winds out of the northeast around 28 kilometers per hour. Some pretty breezy winds today. That did not help the current situation as far as those temperatures go, feeling much colder. 50 kilometer per hour wind gusts today in Bonavista, 56 kilometers per hour today in St. John's. And as we head through the night tonight, we're going to hang on to these breezy winds for a good chunk of the northeast coast. As we get into tomorrow morning, though, we're looking at those winds easing, which is good news, but some breezy winds will continue for Lab West. I'll get into the full details when I come back.
Well, gas prices increased significantly this morning, up 9 cents a litre. The Public Utilities Board interrupted its weekly price-setting schedule after a change in the average benchmark price, and that puts the maximum cost per litre on the Avalon at just over $2.26. And at more than $2.38 a litre, Ramia continues its unwanted distinction of having the most expensive gas on the island. Diesel is also up by 10.6 cents a litre. Furnace oil went up 9.2 cents a litre across the province. Stove oil is up by the same amount. Propane is not affected, and neither is stove oil in certain areas of Labrador. So if you're wondering about how often gas prices have fluctuated, Garrett Berry breaks it down for us.
The year started with gas at $1.57 per litre. By February 24th, gas had reached $1.72 a litre. And that was the day that Russia invaded Ukraine. Since then, it's been a roller coaster. March 10th, gas goes up 9.5 cents per litre, breaching the $2 mark. April 1st, a carbon tax adds 2.2 cents per litre. May 10th, up another 10.9 cents. May 19th, up 3.5 cents to $2.28. A gas tax reduction came into effect on June 2nd, but now it's up 9 cents again, $2.26 per litre. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, we've had 30 changes to gas prices in this province.
Wow, 30 times. So as the fuel prices in the province continue to climb and climb, we hit the street to see how drivers in St. John's are faring.
It's really unfortunate. Between work and school, I do a lot of going on, and I live in Portugal Cove as well, so it's a lot of money.
What have I had to sacrifice? Going out more, staying at home. Can't go for a drive, I'm retired, and we don't do a whole lot of going around, but it's very expensive.
Me and my friend, we split the gas because she can't afford, afford it's too expensive for her. And I remember one time a couple of nights ago, I spent $20 on 9 liters of gas. That's pretty bad, but
It's basically just putting in like small amounts as I can. I used to be able to just fill up my tank and go on, but now it's just more so budgeting and seeing how much I can put in at a time.
It's actually really hard if you're budgeting to do things to travel, and I feel sorry for the young people. We're okay, sort of, but anybody who's got a young family and likes to travel, I'm sure is going to pay quite an effect on what their plans will be.
Oh, we do less driving, right? So you get what's necessary, groceries and things like that, or appointments with doctors. But other than that, we don't go for rides, as for a drive.
I just looked at the price as I was filling it up, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's gone up again. And I feel like it's constantly fluctuating, and it's just like, I would love for it to go back down, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
The province has announced it will spend $500,000 annually to train more Newfoundland and Labrador residents to become doctors. 5 more seats at Memorial's medical school will be funded by the province each year. Here Now's Mark Quinn has that story.
Each year, the province funds 60 of the 80 new students enrolled at this medical school, $100,000 per student from the coffers here annually. Starting next fall, that number will bump up by 5 to 65 Newfoundland and Labrador funded medical students. That's $500,000 more annually. Premier Andrew Furey says it will be money well spent.
We know that graduates of Memorial University's medical programs are very inclined to stay in Newfoundland and Labrador, and they want to live and work and play and raise a family and reach their professional goals here in our province.
Well, I think this is really positive.
The Newfoundland and Labrador Medical Association says today's announcement is likely part of a long-term solution, but its president fears funding more medical students won't address the healthcare crisis we're facing now. A physician shortage that's left more than 125,000 people in this province without a family doctor. McDonald expects more physicians will retire or leave the province.
From my perspective, I see that this crisis is in fact going to get worse before it starts to get better.
The NLMA is calling on the province to keep looking for short-term solutions. Some of those might mean spending more money.
When you have a very small resource that's in great demand, it's pretty simple economics of what you have to do if you want to entice those people to stay.
The opposition leader says provincially funded medical students should be expected to give back something in return for what they've been given. Brazel says they should be obliged to practice in this province after graduating.
We would support that. I would think, we would put enough incentives there to try to get them to stay, because we all see it. Once you stay in an area, you get familiar with it, you make an attachment to it. The more continuity we have in any community or any program, but particularly healthcare, the better it is for all involved, particularly the patients.
Premier Furey promises that more measures to address the broken healthcare system are on the way. Government officials say the blueprint to implement the health accord is due to be made public sometime next week. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, a long talked about report has finally been acknowledged by the Premier. Andrew Furey and the province's Attorney General told reporters late this afternoon it has received copies of what it calls a citizen's representative report, but they aren't saying much else about what the report contains. The Premier repeatedly told reporters today that he was only made aware of this report late yesterday afternoon. This despite the fact that multiple MHAs have been speaking about it publicly for weeks. They say it involves allegations of bullying and harassment against the head of Elections NL, Bruce Chalk. A big issue for government is how the report got leaked.
Presumably, yeah. But I mean, there's a hypothetical situation in which there's other reports. I don't know. Like this is a report. It seems rather consistent with some public commentary that was out there, and raises questions about how it got public. And frankly, that's why I'm very concerned, and that's why the Attorney General is rightfully directing House Management Commission to look at how this got public. Why was it public? How it got out ahead of the due process that it deserves.
To keep in mind, there's two issues here. One is the report that you're talking about. The second issue is the Speaker did, in his letter to me, raise the fact that he questioned how this unknown report became public. So, you can put two and two together.
Well, that report is now in the hands of the House Management Commission and Privacy Commissioner. The Premier promises it will be made public, though no word on when, and that it will be heavily redacted. Well, in other news, overlooking scenic St. John's Harbour, the annual Turning the Tide Awards ceremony was held today, honoring those in the province's marine industry. The group is celebrating 5 years and gave the Industry Leadership and Excellence Award to the Labrador Fishermen's Union Shrimp Company. Richard Cashin received the Industry Lifetime Achievement Award, and for the Innovation Leadership Award, Virtual Marine. An award of historical significance will be presented to the Crow's Nest, while the Next Wave Leadership Award goes to Jasmine Saunders. While the names were announced today, the actual awards will be presented at a gala in the fall.
We have found out that there's only 2 or 3 locations in the world that recognize the marine sector, and now we're one of those 3 or 4. So it's something that should have been, I think, more obvious to us, because the hundreds of years of activity that we all know has taken place here on our shores.
It's a very broad range industry in this province, and it affects the lives of many people. So it's quite an honor to be able to come together as a group and celebrate that and give credit certainly where credit is due.
Can she push it? Another 2.5.
She needs every kilo. She's in the fight, but there's about 5 lifters jockeying for position here.
Well, St. John's super athlete Maria T competed for Canada at the World Powerlifting Competition this morning in South Africa. Unfortunately, despite hitting it hard, this lifter fell short, but still not half bad, placing 5th overall. T is a gold medal world record-breaking lifter and an all-around powerhouse. Congratulations, Maria. Well, as we told you last night, a piece of history from West End St. John's was auctioned off for charity. From the iconic Topsail Road convenience store to a tap room in CBS. The Fitz's cold beer sign will continue to make history, raising $4,300 for the Dr. H. Bliss Murphy Cancer Center. The sign has found a new home in Landwash Brewery. The sign itself drew more attention than vintage Harleys and local artworks at the auction, and Landwash General Manager Chris Conway says they're excited to display this piece of history in their tap room. Well, the late Christopher Pratt is being remembered in New Brunswick. Pratt had a deep and lasting connection through his former wife, Mary Pratt, who's from that province. He also studied at Mount Allison University and had his work exhibited at Beaverbrook Art Gallery.
Christopher Pratt was one of the most important Canadian artists, certainly of the latter half of the 20th century and early part of the 21st. He was a giant, and he had also a really strong connection to New Brunswick because, of course, he married Mary West, who became Mary Pratt. She was from Fredericton, but he was also educated at Mount Allison in Sackville in the late 1950s, early 1960s, and he studied under Alex Colville. So his grounding in they call this Magic Realist School in Sackville in New Brunswick was absolutely formative, and it stayed with him for the rest of his life when he painted his beloved Newfoundland. But he would come here often. He had a lot of time for the Beaverbrook Art Gallery. He was a really strong ally for us and for art in Eastern Canada. He was often fascinated by architecture. His brother was a really well-known architect, in fact still is in St. John's, Newfoundland. And so Christopher had this really strong technical aspect of combining a real technical hardline rigor with a really poignant sense of longing and nostalgia. It's remarkable work, and so in honor of him we hung this memorial exhibition of 7 works from our collection that really speak to the wealth of art that this man made. And he's one of the greatest Canadian artists. We're so fortunate to have had him here, and for our collection here at the Beaverbrook, you know, we show there will always be a Christopher Pratt up for as long as the Beaverbrook Art Gallery exists.
Well, Pratt died at his home in Salmon River on Sunday. He was 86. A celebration of his life will be held Friday morning at Wesley United Church in St. John's.
Well, temperatures are going to dip tonight, risk of frost in some areas, but temperatures are warming up. I'll get into the full forecast coming up.
All right, Ashley, before we get to the weather, we have some beautiful images to share, and it puts me in mind, you probably don't know this because you're from away, but there's a classic local song that Corey and Trina performed years ago. It goes, "The northern lights that shine so bright in the skies of Labrador." Before your time, yes. Yeah. But one photographer in Western Labrador has been capturing that natural phenomena for nearly 30 years.
Yeah, that's the Aurora Borealis, and has become Larry Jenkins' artistic passion. So have a look.
I think the first time I actually tried photographing the Northern Lights would have been about 30 years ago. I went out a couple of nights with the camera shooting slide film. The results weren't great. I was getting a few blobs of green in a dark sky, but gradually improved over time. The Northern Lights they're not reliable. I mean, they come and go. You go out and you see an intense display and you shoot away, and then they fade away. You go sit in your truck for a while, get warmed up, and maybe you pack up your gear and go home, and you're driving home, and you look out and there they are again, and it's can be a little bit of a frustrating experience. Scientists say that when the sun is on the far side of the Earth from where you are, is probably the best time to catch them.
Beautiful collection.
I was just saying, you can see them dancing in the pictures, even though they're still photos.
And you've seen them a bunch of times because you lived up north for a long time.
Yeah, they're something incredible for sure. But
one of these days I'll see them.
You will. You will. But some great news for you Aurora hunters. You can expect to see more northern lights over the next couple of years because the sun's going to start the solar maximus, and that's an 11-year period of increased solar activity. So that means that we're going to see more northern lights, and the best light show will occur just after the peak, and that's expected to be around 2025.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
Good to know.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
All
Maybe
right.
hopefully it'll be a little bit more predictable.
Too bad we don't see them in our neck of the woods.
I know.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Just got to go a little further north.
That's right, for sure. So let's talk about the weather. Really chilly this morning.
Speaking of north,
yeah.
It's been feeling pretty chilly out there. Certainly this morning, yes. We saw temperatures below zero in some cases. Let's take a look at where those temperatures sat. So -1 in Badger overnight, hovering around the 0-degree mark in Gander. And St. Anthony, same thing for Cartwright. Otherwise, temperatures the warmest were for the southwest and along the south coast as well. It's between 6 and 8 degrees. So if you jump the gun and you planted outside, there is a risk, a freeze risk tonight. This is a look at where there's a good chance. The best will be through central, again in those low-lying areas. Through the overnight, the further away you get from that, the less risk of some frost tonight. And then we're going to see one more chance of that tomorrow night, at least in the early morning hours right along the coast. And then we're going to say goodbye to that risk for a little while. But like I said, if you did plant over the last couple of days, the frost-sensitive plants, annuals, herbs, a lot of veggies as well, and you're going to want to water those plants tonight. The best way to avoid the frost is to water your plants tonight and then cover them with plastic or even a bed sheet just to get rid of that. So that's going to keep all the heat right along with the plants. And then as you get up tomorrow morning, you're going to get rid of that for you for the sun tomorrow, because there will be lots of it into the afternoon. Temperatures today, though, were not all that great. Single digits, only reaching 5 degrees today in St. John's, for Bonavista. The same thing for Twillingate. Really, you had to get towards central and the west coast to see some of that nicer weather. Even the northern peninsula, St. Anthony, 13 beautiful degrees today. The warmest, Port aux Basques at 21 this afternoon. And then reaching a high near 19 degrees in Lab City as well. So taking a look at what's going on, got a nice big ridge of high pressure leaving lots of sunshine, but we did see that cloud cover eventually clear out. for along the northern portions of, or at least the northeast coast rather. Doesn't look like the satellite radar is going to show up. There it is. But eventually we will see that cloud cover go further east, and we will see some clearing skies. Some of you are already seeing that, but that risk of cloud cover will stick around mainly, or rather I should say will move back in mainly along the coast tonight. Here's a look at the current temperatures. Unfortunately, we didn't see that cloud cover leave enough, or soon enough I should say, so the temperatures stay pretty chilly today. 4 degrees right now in St. John's, 9 in Gander, so you saw your temperatures jump up a couple of degrees, but still a beautiful evening right now in Deer Lake at 19 degrees, and then same thing for Lab City as well. So as we head through the night tonight, that cloud cover, like I said, may creep back in for along the northeast coast, particularly Bonavista North, maybe Bonavista through the overnight tonight. Otherwise, it's going to be a cool night tonight, hence that frost risk with those clear skies and eventually some light winds as well. However, in Lab West, you are going to see the clouds on the increase as we get into the early morning hours, and you may see the chance of a few showers by the time we get there. Warmest temperatures will be for you in Lab West, 7 degrees tonight. Otherwise, hovering between 0 and -1 for the good chunk of the Big Land. And then again, temperatures in central through central. In the low-lying areas is where we'll see those coolest temperatures, so about -2 for Grand Falls, Windsor. Again, winds, which might help that frost risk for sure for the eastern half of the island anyway, will sit around 20 to 30 kilometers per hour, 30 to 50 towards the coast. Now taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow, generally looking at those temperatures much nicer than today, anywhere from 13 to 19 degrees with the winds in the morning about 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, but they will ease as the day goes on. They'll still be out of the northwest. Temperatures up across the Big Land in the teens as well. 18 degrees for Happy Valley Goose Bay, but again, rain the story for Lab West. Much more rain where that came from through the entire province as we get towards the end of the week. I'll get into those details coming up.
Wednesday on Here and Now.
I've never seen a mosh pit in a museum before.
How did punk rock music and culture come to thrive in suburban Mount Pearl?
It's where the young families were. It's where a lot of young people lived and they didn't have much else to do but make their own fun.
It's not the kind of story you typically find in a museum.
This really reaches a community that the museum would never have reached.
Dive into the world of punk in the Pearl. Wednesday on Here and Now.
The captain's lead, the handshake line, McDavid.
One step closer to the Stanley Cup. Newfoundland's own Alex Newhook will be playing for the NHL's top prize. Excitement is building for the Newhook family. We'll speak with Alex's mom, Paula, coming up. Well, some big local sports news. Newfoundland's own Alex Newhook is heading to the NHL Stanley Cup Final. His team, the Colorado Avalanche, defeated the Edmonton Oilers last night 6-5 in overtime. It means the 21-year-old will be one of just a handful of players from this province to ever contend for the NHL's top prize. And joining me now is Alex Newhook's mom, Paula. So big night last night. I can only imagine how excited you must be today. How are you feeling?
Yeah, oh my gosh, we're so excited. It's big night last night, big day today. It's still, kind of trying to sink in, really.
Yeah, you're still processing.
Still processing, absolutely.
Were you talking to Alex last night or today? How is he doing?
Yeah, so he called after the game last night, and oh my gosh, he was on top of the world. He's so excited. Such a big night. I think he was still trying to process it. It was, not a long conversation, but so excited with the win and so looking forward to moving on to the next round.
So you were at home last night watching the game, a nail biter for sure. Can you set the scene for me and tell me what your night was like last night?
Yeah, so, last night we sort of stuck with close family and friends and just wanted to really watch the game and absorb it all last night and be able to pay attention. So it was a nail biter for sure, and we were down early in the game, and certainly then coming back in the third period, going into overtime. I mean, sitting on the edge of our seats for sure, and then to see them win, oh my gosh, it's still not over it.
And this is Alex's second shot now at the Stanley Cup playoffs. What is it like this time around so far? I know it's just early, but so far, how is it going? Like, how is it different?
Well, I think last year he got called to originally start playing in the NHL in the playoffs. So, it was still, I think he had 14 or 16 games last year. So this year getting to play, I think he played 71 games in the regular season. So, sort of earning his spot in the playoffs. And really focusing series by series and game by game. And I think that's kind of led by Alex, because that's sort of how he rolls, and he never gets ahead of the day. And so I think we've sort of rolled with it that way and enjoying it every game.
What is he doing to prepare mentally and physically? What does he tell you about how he's getting ready for this competition?
Yeah, he's so focused, as he always has been. So I think, he has his routines. He's very strict on that. Mm-hmm. And, they certainly will take a night off after last night and today and sort of enjoy that win. But they'll go back at it tomorrow. And he is an individual. Like, he sort of has his routine, and he gets up and he goes to the ice, home for, a good meal, always a nap, and then back to the rink, many hours in advance, probably I think 3 hours before the game time. And he just stays focused. And, when we sort of say, hey, the Stanley Cup is in, he's kind of like, no, we have a game to play tonight. We have a game to win. And that's sort of how he rolls.
What's it like for you as a mom to see your little boy following his dream and playing at this intense level?
Yeah. I mean, it's so emotional, honestly, really, to look at a kid who started playing hockey when he was 4 and, all the way up through and the challenges of moving away and those big decisions to have to make, to let him go when he's in grade 9. Like, that's been very tough. And I think for us as a family, really, we just have to look at that he is happy every single day of his life. So to have made those sacrifices to let him go so early and for him to have to grow up so early, really, I think only to be happy that he is so happy, we can only go with that.
So it's still really early yet, but if Alex does win the Stanley Cup, then he'll be only the third Newfoundlander to ever win NHL's top prize. What is that like for you to think about, to process?
It still feels really unbelievable, actually, that he could be one of 3 to bring home the cup. So I think we're going to go game by game and certainly hope that, at the end of it all, he can bring the cup home to the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and people can be happy about that.
Well, we'll all be watching. I'm sure a lot of people, even if they're not Colorado fans, will be rooting for Alex to win.
Absolutely. The support from Newfoundland and Labrador, honestly, to Alex and to us as a family has been unbelievable.
What kind of support have you been getting? What are people saying to you?
Oh, phone calls, texts, messages, to us and to Alex. I mean, people that we haven't talked to in forever, people that we don't even know, just lending support, sending notes. fan mail. Like it's been incredible, and you know, just can't be thankful enough for the support from Newfoundland and Labrador.
Well, Paula Newhook, good luck with it. We'll all be watching and rooting for them,
Awesome.
and have fun when you go to those games.
Thank you so much.
Mother Skin is the name of a play that opens here at the LSPU Hall. It's a story about sexual identity, but there are also a few laughs. We'll take you backstage.
And make sure you tune in to CBC Radio tomorrow. First on Newfoundland Morning, meet twins from the Northern Peninsula who are competing in the National Chess Championships. Then at lunchtime on Crosstalk, they're discussing drug addiction with an organization called Moms Stop the Harm. Mallory Fisher is at the LSPU Hall this week for the premiere of their latest production, Mother Skin. Mallory is the playwright and one of the lead actors in the play, which opens on Thursday. The CBC's Anthony Germain spoke with them today.
So I read what this play is about, How are you going to explain what this play is about?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, the play is about the conditioning, the social conditioning that women often experience in a, patriarchal society, and the things, bad and good, that we inherit from our literal ancestors, our parents, our grandparents, but also our artistic ancestors. And so one of the ways I've been kind of describing the play lately is that we see these two characters, Patience and Civi, who basically are meeting on the astral plane. They're like, we are soulmates and we're gonna love each other. So I come to you with all of the versions of myself throughout my whole life, and you come with all the versions of you, and let's find the proper configuration that will allow us to love each other. And so they try, what if I'm the grandmother and you're my child, and can we love each other like this? And then they fail. And then they're like, what if we're best friends and we're 12? Can we love each other like this? And then they fail. So it's just a cyclical pursuit of the best way they can love and care for each other.
A lot of the play has to do with sexual identity and living in a patriarchal society, and that sometimes women also reinforce the patriarchy. Is this heavy?
There's definitely things in it that are challenging, but I think that as a team, we've all approached it with a great commitment to humor and comedy. And so one of the things that we often do in the room when we're working together is say, acknowledge, I do this, and why do I do this, and make fun of it. So that sense of lightness and play really has bled into the process. So yes, there are certainly difficult subjects, but we're approaching it from an angle that really honors that you can find joy in the pursuit of freedom as well. Wow, I'm out of shape. I'm having a cardiovascular hemorrhoid. Is there such thing as a cardiovascular hemorrhoid? I don't know, but there's no other way to describe what I'm feeling right now.
Now, I watched part of the rehearsal, and I was actually laughing. And I think I was laughing at the right parts, or at least I hope I was. What do you hope the audience will take away from something like that? Because obviously, we're in a theater, it's a very physical thing, it's a sensory thing, but a lot of the play's ideas are really up here, right?
Yeah, I think that sometimes that we can center understanding as the goal of when we participate in art and when we view art. And there are definitely some things that just kind of glide by, and that's okay, but the play is also very physical. There's a real movement aspect, and there's music in it, and so I hope that it can kind of, stuff that doesn't necessarily penetrate right away may hopefully reverberate in the body through those experiences of sharing space and experiencing the movement and hearing the music, that even if there are elements of it that maybe people don't resonate with, I hope that there are things that they know with their body knowledge when they come and see it. And I hope they have fun, because how are you gonna get through it unless you can make each other laugh?
How do you actually bring this script to life?
This was a really unique script to bring into the rehearsal room, because a lot of the scenes are written as kind of fragments, and we've been trying to figure out in each scene, what is the relationship between these two people? Who are they to one another? Who are they to themselves in any given moment? And how can we bring that to life? And how can we create a story, between all of these scenes? How can we tie them all together so we have a whole?
Now, the playwright and your partner talked about the creative process of working with you. Is it easy or difficult to work with someone you're so close to?
I've always found it really easy, and I feel really fortunate to have this creative partnership. We were actually creative partners before we were romantic partners, and so the benefit of being so close in our personal life as well as our creative life is that we have this shorthand that already exists, and we are already familiar with each other's references, and I find it really easy to communicate with Mallory, both as a playwright and as a performer, because we kind of have this common language that we've developed over many years of collaboration.
So for people watching here now tonight, make your sales pitch. Why should people come to this play?
I really think there's something in the show for everyone. There's a lot of tenderness. There's a lot of moments that people will recognize. One of our producers, Nicole Rousseau, recently described the show as a series of scenes that you can take what you need from. I think there's going to be moments in the show that everyone in the audience are going to identify with at one point or another. And I think that the best way to experience the show is to let it wash over you and to enjoy it and allow it to make you think and allow yourself to be entertained throughout the process and to laugh, because I think that without laughter, then it's hard to get to the heart of any subject matter. I think we have a natural built-in defense mechanism. So humor is a really important part of my work, and I feel really proud that we've had a lot of fun in the rehearsal room, so I think the audience will too.
Well, still with the arts, the provincial government has given Music NL some money to get musicians performing in towns throughout the province during the Come Home Year celebrations this summer. The organization is getting $200,000 for its new project, the Music NL's Presenters Series. Music NL is using the money to give grants to more than 100 groups across the province to arrange musical entertainment for their Come Home Year celebrations. It'll also help get musicians back to work performing for audiences after being sidelined for much of the pandemic.
It's going to provide local musicians and communities right throughout the province an opportunity to bring in our musicians this summer to make sure we're highlighting this industry, because this industry is so important not only to our artists but to our tourism product.
As we know, it was a struggle, a very tough year for our members and those working in the sector, but watching social media and watching our almost 700 members share their events over the next right into the fall, they are jam-packed.
Chase the Ace is a fundraiser that's very well known in this province, and it just made someone very rich in Prince Edward Island. The winner of a Chase the Ace there just took home more than $2 million.
Annette, she's a new millionaire.
Annette Dywald and Russell McKenna just won a jackpot worth around $2.4 million. She didn't want to do an interview today, but organizers said Annette was very surprised and was shaking in disbelief when she came to collect her prize. The fundraiser was a big success for the organizations behind it as well. The CBC's Laura Meter has more.
The new wheelchair ramps. And
The fundraiser may be over, but the excitement is not. 6 different community groups behind Chase the Ace are also winners. Now they're planning where to spend money in their communities.
I don't think anyone ever dreamt it would go this long or get this high of a jackpot to help with each of these organizations so much. It's just like a dream come true, really.
Without Chase the Ace, I don't know where we'd be, really.
4 different Lions clubs, the North Star Arena, and the North Rustico Fire Department each have about $620,000. They have already donated some money to hospitals, sporting groups, and other charities. They also have their own needs.
Bought and paid for.
The North Rustico Fire Hall has ordered a custom-built pumper truck worth about $500,000.
It was paid in cash. It was awesome.
Just down the road, the new Rink and Wellness Center will also benefit, and the Hunter River Lions Club will get some much-needed repairs.
Our building itself has a lot of maintenance that needs to be done. New roof, our parking lot needs to be done, windows need to be replaced, insulating, things like that.
This is not the first Chase the Ace for these groups. They've been at this for 7 years, and many jackpots did not last long. One year, the Ace was pulled the first week, so volunteers were thrilled to see it grow this time. Volunteers became like family as the draw continued on and demand for tickets grew. Many worked long hours every Saturday.
We all looked at each other quite often and just shook our heads in disbelief. It's just amazing the support we got from the community and the amount of hours that these groups put in.
I liked how we all worked together for a common goal to get the job done.
You know, there will be a lot of people in the community that we can help.
Volunteers are looking forward to a summer of rest, but they expect to do another Chase the Ace draw in the future. Laura Meter, CBC News, North Rustico.
Time for a look at the long range, but you mentioned something earlier that I think is worth repeating, and that's tonight going to be really chilly, chance of frost, so you want to bring in any of those frost-sensitive plants.
Yeah. Sorry. That's exactly what we have to do tonight. You know, we've got these cooler temperatures that have been sticking around. Certainly today was not very nice out there, but we are going to see the warmth return, which is nice. Good. So let's take a look at what's going on out there. And unfortunately, some of this warmth actually is going to come with some unsettled conditions. So we're going to start to see that shower activity Wednesday night and into Thursday morning, particularly for the southwest. So even though tomorrow is going to start a bit sunny, you will see those clouds on the increase, and then that shower activity will move in. Now through the day on Thursday, all of that cloud cover will stick around, more than likely going to stay dry for the eastern half of the island, but the west coast, south coast, you're still going to see that chance of some showers as the day goes on. Nothing too significant on Thursday anyway. Then some showers will work their way across the big land as well. Looks like the northern peninsula, you're going to stay nice and sunny through the day on Thursday. Your temperature should reach about 15 degrees though through the day. Otherwise, potentially even the 20s through central. Grand Falls, Windsor have 21 degrees for you. And then, although in the teens on the west coast, again, that chance of showers will stick around. So you're looking at about 16 degrees for Corner Brook. Across the big land, the best weather as far as sunshine goes will be towards the southeast. Cartwright, you're going to sit around 17 degrees through the day on Thursday, and about 13 for Nain. Now, again, cloudy skies, the story for St. John's, about 14 degrees through the afternoon. So as we get into Thursday evening, Friday, this is when things will really become unsettled. Most areas will see showers right across through the day, I should say, and then work their way towards the coast as we get into Friday evening across the big land. So temperatures on Friday, although will stay relatively mild, since from what we have been seeing for the last little bit, we're still only looking at temperatures between 11 and 17 degrees across the island. A little cooler for Labrador, particularly in Nain, where you'll hover around 9 degrees. Again, you'll see some sunshine to start, but then that rain will move in, and most of us under that gray sky. Now, long range forecast. Looks like there's 20 degrees in the forecast at this point for the weekend. Saturday and Sunday a bit up in the air depending on how much sunshine we see, but it is looking like the temperature should be between 19 and 20 degrees, and overnight lows now back between the 10 to 12 degree range, so that's nice. But again, maybe even showers in the morning on Saturday and then even into the evening hours on Sunday. Now for central Newfoundland, looking a lot nicer. Sunshine for Saturday, but then showers will return on Sunday. Temperatures in the mid-20s or low 20s, I should say. Then for western Newfoundland, you're looking at your showers returning on Sunday and about 19 degrees. Now for eastern Labrador, unfortunately it will be rainy, but temperatures will reach about 21 degrees by the time we get into Saturday. And then for Lab West, you're looking at some showers right through Saturday. Sunday looks cloudy, but 16 degrees. Here's a look, speaking of the big land, sunset in Goose Bay. Joanne shared that great shot with me on Facebook. If you have or want to share any with us, there's my Facebook there, Twitter, and email to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, those colors. It's like a purpley and orangey pink, just stunning.
I love it when we get those colorful sunsets.
Yeah, gorgeous.
My favorite.
I'm liking the look of those temperatures for the weekend. It looks pretty nice for almost everyone. 19, 20 degrees.
We're finally starting to see it. I mean, we are, what are we, June 7th today?
Yeah.
So it's about time.
We're getting there. That's it for us tonight. Good night, everyone.
Good night.